Hey, welcome back. In this video, we're gonna put an engine back in this STI, so come along. Yeah, so if you haven't been keeping track, this car has gone through a couple engines now. I'll put a link up here for the last video, maybe the video before. But I've talked to the customer. His plan is to sell this car once it's running. So after talking to him, we figured the best idea was to just put a used engine in it. Because this car has TGV deletes, doesn't have an air pump. It's missing a lot of the components that are going to throw check engine lights. So what we want to do is we want to make it as OEM as possible. That way, whoever buys it will be more reliable for them. But yeah, I've got the engine outside. It's all covered up and everything. I'm going to lift the car up, get the engine in here, take the wrapping off of it, and kind of see what we're dealing with. So hopefully everything's there that I think is going to be there. All right, so here it is, all unpacked and everything. I already saw a couple things I'm going to have to do. This timing cover's got a little bit of a break in it, so I got to do that. Take out the AF sensor. I do have to put the clutch on. Looks like it has some sort of a AOS setup. This car has an AOS, so I'm not too worried about that. We can set it all up. Get some wiring off, but nothing too terribly major. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna bring the car down, get the clutch and all that kind of hardware out of the car. And then I'd like to just stab it in as is, just to make my life easier. Usually, I take the turbo off because that can kind of get hung up there a little bit, but shouldn't be overall too bad. If everything goes well, it should go in the car and get running pretty quick. So, all right, well, I'm gonna do a couple things here and, like I said, hopefully get it in the car. All right, the engine's all more or less ready to get in. I gotta take off the heater lines, take off some fuel lines and stuff like that. So normally I don't really put engines in with intake manifolds on, usually because I'm putting that on a different engine. It just is what it is. So it's gonna be a little bit of a bear trying to get the bell housing around a couple things. It'll go in, might be a little frustrating and longer to do than I normally do them. But I got a couple things I gotta do first. I gotta get the throw bearing and all that kind of stuff put on. I wanna get the car lowered down and put into like third gear so that way the input shaft on the trans doesn't spin too much. Right up there. So we're gonna get that all situated here. And we're gonna plop the engine in. Once the engine goes in, it really shouldn't be too terribly much to get it up and running at this point. But yeah, I guess let's do that stuff first. A couple days later, we ran into some problems. Throw bearing. Couldn't find where it went. Had to order one. Got it now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the engine in and finish this car hopefully today, because I want this thing out of my shop. Had to push it in and out probably 3 times between pulling the engine out, bringing it in last week. It doesn't matter. So let's work on getting this guy in the car and driving. All right, throw bearing and everything's in. I have a feeling this is gonna fight me a little bit because the turbos like to get hung up on the bell housing and the air pump and stuff. All that kind of things are still on it. But I wanna do as little work to this to make it less work to do in here. So if I have to get frustrated, I will. But it'll go in regardless. So I'm working on that right now. Hopefully that'd be awesome. Knowing my luck with this car though, that's not gonna happen. So let's stab this guy in there. Like I thought, it definitely fought me, but it's in. So we gotta put the starter in. We gotta put the parent AOS in, pitch mount, downpipe, power steering pump, radiator, AC lines, fuel lines, intercooler. That's really all it is. It shouldn't be too terribly bad. I'm gonna look up the parent AOS and see what's all going on with that, so I know which line goes where. Because unfortunately, I would have just put the stock setup back in, but this used engine didn't come with that stuff. Looks like it had a IAG AOS on it or something. So we're gonna have to get that all situated here real quick, but not that big a deal. Yeah, so I looked up the parent stuff. This is an old setup or something. Like, a lot of the things are different on this one. And honestly, this had an engine failure, and I don't really see a way to service that AOS, so I just ordered them an IAG one. We're just gonna swap that over and call it a day. But I want to keep going on this. It'll start without an AOS. We just gotta cover up a couple vacuum leaks. So I think I'm gonna put it up in the air, do the starter, the couple bell housing bolts, get that kind of stuff done, bring it down, get the couple bell housing bolts from up here, starter bolt 2, then probably do the downpipe, and the rest of it should just be up here stuff. Ideally, get it running here, not that long, honestly. Yeah, all right, let's do that. All right, first start time. Oh, no, the fucking fuel pump fuse in. Yeah, look at that.
Gonna run.
Right? Well, aside from that little hiccup of not putting the what is that called? The fuel pump fuse in, she runs good. There's some more stuff that needs to be done on it. We need to put an AOS in it, like I was saying earlier, but it's pretty much ready to go. So that's probably where I'm gonna leave this episode. If you guys like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next time.